Activate. If you have previously heard about this place from me, then I may have been trying to kidnap you. And with this video, I announce, Canada, this is your warning. If you don't believe me, just ask Sanol. Over the past couple of years, I have fallen deeper and deeper in love with this place, and by the time I'm done here, I hope you'll see why. Quick disclaimer though, this video is not sponsored, and for good reason. Activate may be family friendly, but I am not. I mean, hell, one of my characters' names is literally Sergeant Sex. If you had to ask me what Activate is, I would have to say it's something like an active gaming facility, because it's not VR, it's not an arcade, and it's not an escape room either. Activate's a completely original idea, and to be honest, while that is really fun in its own right, don't get me wrong, I would honestly have an easier time explaining my honeypot builds to my mother. Here's how it works. You go in, you pay for admission, just make sure you have at least one other person with you because they ban solo play and I want it back. Get your wristband, then create an account. It's just some basic login stuff at one of these iPads just to tie your progress. This is very important. After all the setup is done, you now have 75 minutes to freely access any of these 17 rooms, each with a multitude of different games. It's really hard to get bored here. I will say though, some of the rooms are almost complete duplicates of each other or just size variations of an existing room. However, each one of these games does feature a different playstyle or like a different game within it. Except for press and push. The only thing different about those is the shape of the wall. I think a much better example of this though would be like Grid, where it revolves a lot more around precision movement, while Mega Grid can be way better summed up as hit all the blues and beat the timer. I kid you not, rolling on the floor is a legitimate strategy. Hello everybody, it's your boy Sergeant Sex here, and this moron Conjant forgot to do his call to action, so here I am telling you to like and subscribe. Anyway, back to the video. So what games does Activate have? As of writing this, there are a total of 17 different rooms at the facility. Each facility is varied on the games that they have, but generally they stick to a set of mandatory games like Control and Press, and non-mandatory games like Scan and Climb. Just for simplicity's sake though, I won't be talking about 6 of these rooms, just due to them either being too similar to one another, or this room, but big. A special case for this though is actually the Trench Room, because for some reason, only one location in my general area has it, and to be honest, I don't want to drive that far to form an opinion on it. So to start off, we have Hide, which features 2 unique game mechanics. The giant pillar in the middle of the room, and half the games don't even use this thing. So just to make my narrating easier, let's just call him Albert. The games that do involve Mr. Albert here though, involve you spelling something like a given word or numbers from lowest to highest while hiding from him. The games that don't involve Albert, on the other hand, are honestly the most fun. Spellinator has you choosing a word to spell with the given letters. I almost won a game by spelling the N-word once. While Relay has you just running around the room. I love Relay. Next to the room list is Hoops. It's not just basketball, it's a humiliation simulator. You know, nothing beats losing a trivia game, not because you don't know the question, but because you just can't throw a ball. Really good at memory games? Too bad you ain't ballin', you fucking nerd. Trust me when I say this, just start with Raj. Another great warm-up will take you to the Mega Grid room. Chances are, if you have seen any advertisement of Activate, you've seen this room. It's quite literally Activate's poster child. The premier games of this room are Mega Grid, which is a very simple premise. Hit the blues, avoid reds. Each level is something like an animated obstacle course of its own and will have you pushing your mobility to its absolute limits trying to beat the timer. The next premier game of this room is the second of the Relay trio, dubbed Mega Relay. Same premise as Hide, except instead of a pillar blocking your view, you just have to avoid red tiles. This one's probably my second favorite of the 3. Mega Grid is a room that quite possibly has infinite potential for new games, and I think Activate knows that, considering in the past few months alone, as of writing this, they've added a total of 4 new games to the room, on top of what's already there. The game selection's a bit of a mosh pit. Next up is Mega Laser. Now, when I say this room is my favorite and an obvious S+ tier, it is with good reason. Because I am a crackhead. Quick disclaimer though, this room is really dark, so excuse the footage. You start the game, and it's just you, the room, and one objective. Avoid the lasers. Get to the other side. Jump, roll, crawl. Whatever you need to by any means necessary. And also hit your colored laser if you're playing Laser Relay, the last Relay variant. Little funny tidbit on Relay games, by the way. I used to play these before they banned solo play. That shit sucks. So normally, Relay games have you alternating between teammates because, well, that's how Relay works. With one person, it's just you. And level 10 has you needing to go full speed at every round 24 times. Yeah, I had to call Luigi for that one. If being in a house like Carpet ain't quite your thing, you can also pick up a gun and try Zap or Defuse. Pretty similar games, but it's neat that Laser is a dual-purpose room. Unfortunately, the zappers are locked in place, so that does make it a fair bit harder to aim, but you get used to it though. If you really want to take what I call an efficient break, you can pay a visit to the press room. This room consists of a wall full of buttons that looks something akin to a childhood trauma of mine. You can just sit down while playing these games, as you're just using your eyes for the most part. Finding a pattern, playing memory, or just blasting minds, this room is great to just take a load off and get points at the same time. Back to the cardio games takes us to Climb. This room is more so just how much tech can you incorporate before you get injured? And yet, I wonder why it's being phased out. This room mainly has you using your arms to keep yourself from falling onto the ground, and due to the room structure, there's actually plenty of ways you can excel in this game. From standing on this corner to swinging around like a monkey, I call it a tech, but really it's just the laws of physics. Also, did I mention this is one of my favorite rooms? Going back even further to throwing games, we have Strike. Now, I chose to talk about this room over Arena because with Arena, it's just colored panels. Strike has screens. This just lets them do everything Arena does and then some. Asteroids, memory, more memory, and numbers? There's an achievement for inputting somebody's phone number in that one.
Man, I love doxing Jenny in Baseball Simulator.
Alright, take a wild guess what we're doing here. Yep, we're going back to safety hazards. Really glad this isn't sponsored. Thankfully, I had the privilege of playing Skinned Supermarket before Solo got banned. Basically, the reason why this room is dangerous is because it's really small and extremely chaotic. Activate calls it Supermarket, but I think it's way more akin to Black Friday at Best Buy. This is one of the newer rooms, so it only has 3 games, the others being Spot the Difference and Memory. Again. You know, I'm really starting to see a trend here. Okay, actually moving forward now, our next room is Portals. Now, I actually prefer Pipes normally, but the reason I talk about the former is because Portals is newer, and also my main location uses it. Now, the reason I prefer Pipes over Portals is because usually when I go to activate, I go with fewer people, and Pipes is more so balanced around having less people, usually around 2 to 3, while Portals is more so balanced around having 4 to 5 people entirely due to the room layout alone. As for the games themselves, there's no memory here. All of these games more so revolve around communication and hand-eye coordination. Communication to call out the slots, and hand-eye coordination to catch, receive, and actually slot in the balls. Wormholes has you putting the ball in, taking it out, and then finding the slot with the same color your ball exited out of. Jumble has you on scrambling a word, then spelling out that word using the lettered slots. Oddball has you spotting the difference, and Timers is just speed. On the topic of speed, the last room I'll be talking about is Control, featuring only 2 co-op games and plenty of cardio. This room can very easily be summed up as either Bop It or Pac-Man. Now, while I do compare the premises of these 2 games to existing media, the gameplay style of the Control Room is so wildly different. Honestly, these 2 games are all you need to have fun in that room. But bonus points if they do actually end up adding stuff to this room. So you've played a bunch of games, and you may have noticed the fact that I have only talked about co-op games. That's not all Activate has to offer. If you're feeling a little spicy, each room also has a selection of competitive games that range from a different version of the co-op games by every man for himself to completely new and different games. They don't give you any score, but they do still give everybody coins regardless and bragging rights to the winner. Activate keeps track of nearly everything. Whenever you complete a game, your score gets added to a total that is tied to your account, and every 25k score will let you spin on the iPad that you can use to check your stats. I promise you the 100 coin jackpot is actually possible, and I have gotten it 3 times, even if one of them was actually due to a glitch. There are also plenty of achievements you can get in the facility that range from beat levels 1 to 10 of a game to beat Megagrid's Order Up level 8 without touching a single green tile. Safety Second is a really fun badge that I really need to get. These badges also give you the aforementioned coins, which you can use to redeem various things like the t-shirt and beanie I wore for this video, as well as your own personal wristband and extra playtime. If you really want to prove yourself though, Activate hosts 2 separate competitions. The currently active Activate Global League and Tournament of Champions. I have experience in both of these events, and it has taught me that all these top players are absolutely fucking nuts. Like, these are the types of players that a salty gamer would tell to go outside and touch grass, but you can't do that because
That's how they got here.
Here's how they work. For AGL's first season, keyword being first season, as of recording this, it's actually still going, Activate will announce team registrations until a certain date, and to participate, you need a team of 3 to 5 players. You then get placed in one of 6 divisions, depending on your team score at that location. And once you register, you cannot sub in for another team, and you must do your games where you signed up. I expected to be placed in D2, since if you compare my score to some of the other top dogs, it's quite low. The keyword for all of this, though, is first season, because Activate Global League is very new, and there are a lot of things that they need to take player feedback for. Now, personally, I like the challenge. I like that it drives me to try harder and harder every time I go into the facility. However, a lot of other teams aren't a big fan of that, and I understand that as well. Anyway, once you get your team together, you go in on a Monday or a Tuesday and play the pre-selected games against one of the other teams per game. You get 3 attempts, and only your best score is used. Highest scoring team wins. Top 18 teams make it to the playoffs, and then finals, and then podium. Alrighty, moving on to something Activate is way better versed in, TOC. Activate is trying a new format for their next TOC, so I'm going to be explaining this using the new format, but as for the actual event experience itself, I'm going to be explaining using the old format just because I don't know how they're going to run it next year. Remember how I mentioned your account's total score? Well, that's also used for this event, but it makes a lot more sense. At the end of the year, the top 30 scoring players of that year specifically are invited to an event in February. 1 week before TOC, you were given a list of the games you will be playing at the event, and also an invitation to a 3-hour practice session with the other TOC competitors. These games are solo. Yeah, you know that thing I mentioned that they banned a while ago? Yeah, it's just you for this one. Oh yeah, you also only get 1 attempt per game. Good luck! Now I will say this was my first ever actual competitive Activate event, and I got absolutely turned inside out by half the competition. Like, I got smoked. Play fast, play precise. Take risks. And with that, I'm just about done with this video. This is more so just a general what is Activate, but I'm totally down to just make another one of these going more into detail about the specifics. I mean, I am changing my content style up to put more things out, so the more ideas I have, the better. That's because Activate to me is more than just an experience. It's a hobby. And you bet I wanted to do something like this for a long time. Shout out to the Activate YouTube channel for the footage and the official Discord. Yes, this place has an official Discord server. Link in the description. For the insight and just all around being really cool people. Activate has completely blown up over the past few years, so chances are there might be one near your location. Now, if you're wondering why I only talked about 10 of the 11 rooms in this video, it's because the one I didn't mention is the photo booth! Yeah! Why am I missing my limbs?